Hi paper crafting friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over completed projects using the Good Vibes kit from Hip Kit. I've done a previous video on the kit and showing sort of my thought process and how I cull down the products and how I kind of prevent overwhelm when I get a lot of product in at one time. So I'm going to link that down below and then I'll talk you through um, some of the decisions that I made and why I'm making a 6x8 album. So this album is going to be about a trip last year to Kauai. And I love the colors in this kit. I thought they went perfect with a lot of our photos. Here's one of the photos of the pool area and a sunset. And I just happened to turn around and look back at the pool and I was just blown away just by the view of it. So I wanted to document that. I do a lot of pages like this where we have 1 6x8 on the left and then the right is kind of my creative playground, I like to call it. So I do this over and over again. I notice it in my traveler's notebooks. I noticed it in my dash notebook and now I'm noticing it in the 6x8 layout. So it's just something that I naturally gravitate towards. So to give you an example of what I end up doing with these 6x8 pages is that I put together my own little mini albums using a cinch. So I've gone ahead and picked a cover out. Later on, I'll put a label on it and I use the rings and I don't put it all together and I don't crimp these rings until all the pages are complete, which is probably going to be pretty soon because this one's getting really thick. I can only let it get so thick and then I just have to use bigger rings. So there's probably going to be multiples of this book. This is actually not even Hawaii. This is a different trip to Florida. I'll show you a quick peek of this one, but I've been sort of piecing it together. It's not all glued back to back. There's some pages that are kind of like sticking out here that haven't been punched, but this is kind of what this Hawaii project will end up looking like, and there'll probably be multiple little 6x8 books because I took a lot of pictures. All right, let's get back to the design of the page. So the jumping off point here was a steel die, which I had showed in the previous video. This is a steel die. It had these little interesting notches. And once I put it down on this page, the first thing I thought of was, oh, I'm gonna hang something off of them. And then I immediately went to these like dimensional stickers. I love these, I love the colors in these. And I just picked 3 out that I really loved and I hung them. This is just string that I bought at Michael's. It comes in a big ball and that's where I started. So I started with these 3 and then I knew I needed to fill in the space and I started out with these 3 small labels from the Project Life kit and then I added the journaling on top. I use clear label sticker paper to do that. I don't feed these through my printer or anything like that. I just don't mess with that kind of thing because I get really frustrated. And yeah, so then I filled up the rest of the spaces with circles just to repeat this circle pattern, right? So we had 2 circles and then I just repeated more circles to fill it in. And then I love this alphabet. I know I had highlighted it in the other video. I love the S's. And this is not upside down. I just thought it was cool that some have the curly Q on the bottom. And then well, it is upside down actually, but I liked it and I did that on purpose. In other words, it's not a mistake. I really wanted it like that. So I used stamps at the top and at the bottom. That was from the Project Life kit. And then some of the journaling. For the pattern, this came from the Project Life kit. It was a 6x8 piece of paper. Again, colors are beautiful. Just somehow reminded me of Hawaii and goes really well with this picture. And a little bit of the woven sort of mat just at the bottom, just for a little bit more interest because we had texture going on up here. So I just added some texture down there. All right, that was project number 1. Okay, project number 2, my assignment was to create a grid. And I love clean lines and I love grids, so this was a lot of fun. I decided to do something a little bit different by using this huge picture as my patterned paper. It's my background. And I love it. I love this photo, and I wanted to tell the story of Shipwreck Beach. And right here, it looks calm, but it's really not calm. There are some huge, huge waves, riptides, and there's a reason why it's called Shipwreck Beach. I did not go in the water here. I stayed at this edge here, but it was beautiful, beautiful. It was right in front of our hotel. So that's why I wanted to make it sort of the main focus. I know it's the background, but it also really stands out at the same time. There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of story on top of it, but the picture is pretty striking. And I love to do this with landscape photos of scenery. I love this type of look. So to create it, obviously printed out the photo first, and then I cut out a bunch of squares in sort of a very light peach, a medium peach, the light teal, and then the darker teal. And then it's not a true ombre, right? Because we're going from peach to teal, but shades. And that's how I started the design. I said, okay, it's pretty cool to use the two lightest colors, then the two medium colors, and then this darker peach, and on and on and on. Started with the bases, and then I start decorating. So I start decorating first with the die cuts. I love these die cuts. I mentioned them in the planning video. And I ended up using the leaf, the flower, this flower, this flower, this leaf are all from the die cut pack. There's just beautiful shapes and colors in that pack. I also love this chipboard sheet, and I used quite a bit of it here. Here I used all the little diamond shape, no, triangle shapes in order to make this octagon. I think I was trying to mimic the light peach. You see it here, light peach, to the melon color, and then to the blues that you see over here. That's where that idea came from. Here, to keep it from being too many squares, I decided to throw in some shapes that were a little bit different, right? So if you want to keep your designs from looking a little too matchy or samey, you want to add a little bit something eclectic, you can switch out some of your very boxy linear squares to a different shape. So using the heart here, using the octagon here, and using the flower here. The thing that ties it together and does it make it odd, I guess, is the best word I can use, is that the colors match, right? So although the shape doesn't match, the color pretty much matches and goes along. So your eye doesn't jump to it immediately and be like, well, this doesn't fit here. It does fit. It fits by color, if not by shape. That's a little design tip when creating grids that are interesting but cohesive. I think that's it for this one. I really love this little envelope here. I just created this with cardstock, cut it on the diagonal, cut this little notch out, and then I had a place to put my story about respecting the water, especially in Hawaii. All right, that's it for project number 2. Let's pull out project number 3. So for project number 3, I stayed with the Hawaii theme. This is still the same trip. I can still put in this size, this traveler notebook size, inside my 6x8 albums. I vary the sizes of pages, so that's okay that this is not another 6x8 page. Main reason for that was I really wanted to use this 3x4 card, 3x8 card. And I love this pattern. It really still, again, reminded me of a lot of Kauai. And yeah, that was my jumping off point, as was the stamp. So this little border was stamped with these inks from Pink Fresh. That was part of the kit. And I love these little shapes. I love the daisies with the orange border and these delicate little lines. And I used it again up here just to draw the attention to the title. Again, I used the stamp here in Stay Golden. I used the Project Life stamp here. And then behind here, I ended up using this as a pocket. I was actually going to leave it just like this. And actually, that's the way it's going to look once I put it in the album, right? Because this is going to go all the way in like that. and you won't be able to see that. And that's kind of a better picture of what the project looks like. But this story was about my coffee spot. So every morning I got up before everyone else, before the chaos of Nico and my husband and my niece who were with us. And I like to take time to myself sometimes on vacation before we start on all our adventures and all this. So that's what the story is about. This was my favorite spot. This was the view. That's my cup. My absolute favorite coffee in the world is Honolulu coffee. And that's my story. And this is my pocket for that story. And like I said, I like to make varied sizes to go in albums. I think they're much more interesting to look at than just a static 6x8 album. So I will make traveler's notebook size pages and include those. All right, that's it. That's the 3 projects. That was my traveler's notebook page using mostly the Project Life kit and the stamps. Here is my grid, and then my little hanging embellishment page. This was so much fun. I love these pages. Definitely influenced by color here. You could see it in the blues and in this beautiful like peachy color. That's what I just naturally gravitate towards, and sure enough, that's what I ended up picking out. And when I put these little kits together, I think about feel, mood, color, and that's what will direct my design. The one thing that I didn't get to use that I'm sad about are these mandalas. So I'm keeping this one on my desk to remind me, and I'm gonna definitely use this somewhere, somehow. I'm determined. All right, that's it. That's all I have for the Good Vibes kit. And I'm going to change up this series a little bit for next month. I think that for the next month's kit, I'm going to show you the kit, how I put different little mini kits together, and then show you the completed pages all at one time. I think that's more interesting to watch, but you can leave me feedback down below. All right, thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.